Welcome everybody. This is Jamie Bieto here, co-founder of Searth Property Ambassadors in Spain, Catalonia.
Searth Property Ambassadors, sharing expat experience with future expats.
We will be sharing our knowledge in finding which areas suits you, all about visas, how to retire in Spain, testimonials, market trends, everything. We will make this journey together on our search for the best lifestyle in Catalonia. Buying a property in Spain follows certain steps that are always the same ones. I mean, there is a limited amount of documents and steps for the goal of buying a house. And this path is solidly established by law and customs. If you get the right info and the right people around you, you should be able to drive the whole process with much ease than you first expected, making you feel empowered in this project rather than just being at the mercy of others. So a question that I get a lot overall from UK and USA buyers: do you really need a lawyer or an attorney to buy a house in Spain? This is a subject that might open up some debate, but I'll be blunt to you. No, you don't need an attorney or a lawyer. With one condition: you must get the honest and trustworthy real estate agent with you. I'll be doing an entire podcast on the subject soon, sharing my real experience, what I've seen in my daily life. First of all, let's segregate the process of buying a property. To buy a house, you need to get sure 4 things. First, are you eligible to buy a house? Second, is the house legally and structurally clean? Third, how to get a bulletproof ARES. So you translate that as the legally binding deposit contract. And fourth, how to end the purchase at the signing of the public deed at the notary. So essentially, the first 2 needs to be done before buying. The homework and the last 2 are actually the buying process. So let's start. First, are you eligible to buy? As you might know already, for that you need NIE or visa, bank account, and the cash or financing. That's it. Pretty much. You don't need anything else. If you don't have the money, of course, you have to seek for a financing assistance. If you need help, then you could ask to a lawyer to do all this paperwork for you, or you can hire a gestor, which is a person that can do it for you and is not a lawyer. Actually, I've done it in the past and I often do. You can get all the info from internet and do it yourself as well. But let's agree that this is not directly related to the house itself. More with you getting ready to be eligible to buy one. Second, is the house legally and physically clean? Look, in Spain there is 2 super important documents from where you can know almost everything about a particular house. Those 2 are the nota simple and the ficha catastral. I'm going to repeat that. Nota simple and ficha catastral. You could translate that roughly as the simple note and the cadastral portfolio. If one of them is lacking, it's not good. Unless it's a newly built house and it's pending to get the approval from the registry or council. Okay? But if it's a second-hand house, they must have both. The most important one is the nota simple, issued and held by the public registry. It is somehow an open CV of a particular property. Its meters, its interior distribution, its uses, its current owners, its encumbrances, its servitudes. I have a full podcast in this one. On the other hand, the ficha catastral is a document made by the council and is essentially by means of taxing purposes. From it, they will extract the year property taxes amount, called in Spain IBI, Impuesto de Bienes Inmuebles. You, as any other citizen, expat or local can get those two easily. I'll be sharing the links at the description below. The Catastro is for free. So the Ficha Catastral, is for free. And the Nota Simple costs around 10 euros. These two, the Nota Simple and the Ficha Catastral, should match. And if they are not matching in the house sizes, content or uses, then it's not good either. However, it is allowed to have a difference of the 10% between them. For instance, when it comes to meters, right? So let's say in the public registry, so Nota Simple states the house is 100 square meters. And the Ficha Catastral, it says is 90 square meters. Well, this is still within the 10%, so it's okay, it's legal. But if the size doesn't match on the meters above a 10%, then this is not good. And it is very common to find pools and other updates missing in the registry, in the Nota Simple, since the procedure to register is longer and owners didn't bother to do it. However, in the Catastro, in the Ficha Catastral, it gets updated automatically or almost automatically, since councils are droning on helicoptering in a year basis and updating the whole data. So buildings, pools, garage is all automatic. So by this way you get taxed on these updates, but that is not being done at the public registry. So people live in those houses with such differences between these two agencies that nothing happens. Challenge is when you have to sell that property. So those two are key. But if you want to get an extra security, you can ask for as follows: Certificado Urbanístico. This is a bit more complex to get, and it needed really only in case you are doubting of the legal situation of the neighborhood in general. Or for instance, you want to know if the house is affected by, for instance, the pass of a railway. Every council is different and taxes may apply to get this, but normally they won't cost more than 10 to 20 euros. Another one, if it's a flat and it has more than 45 years of age, then this property must have done the IDE. You translated that as a sort of a MOT for the buildings, right? So that you must ask the seller to supply this to you in this case. And last, not always needed, but nevertheless is an option when you might have doubts, which is an architect inspection. This is an extra cost of around 150 to 500 euros. He or she will be able to carry an inspection of the current physical state of the building. Let you know that local buyers rarely perform one of these architect inspections, but is more common amongst expats. Third, get a bulletproof ARAS, so legally binding deposit contract. In Spain, once you showed interest for the house, you negotiate the price. A full podcast is due where I'll be talking about this subject deeply, but for now, all I can say is that after an agreement on time and money has been reached, then you can either make a reservation contract before you go to the ARAS, where the owner cuts off all the viewings from other potential buyers for a short period of time, like 1 or 2 weeks, upon the placing of a small sum, normally between 3,000 to 5,000 euros, or go straight away to ARAS. ARAS is a binding deposit. Normally, the buyer has to put down the 10% of the value of the property. In it, you identify clearly both parties, selling and buying ones. You identify clearly the house and its full characteristics, and the most common ARAS are the ones you call penitenciales. So you translate it to penitential, in a way, punishing ones, which essentially means if once the seller has signed them, they pull back, they lose twice the money. So 20% in average of the house's value. And if it's the buyer, then they will lose the 10% they gave. Pretty straightforward, isn't it? In it, you state as well the date limit of the signing of the public deed. If there is any encumbrances and other agreements that might have reached, such as the inclusion of the furniture. And finally, fourth, signing of the public deed. This must be done at the notary. Once you sign the arras, you start pouring all the deal information to the notary's officials. Notaries are serious agents. That if they see something isn't right in the whole process, not just the pouring of information, but the actual date of the signing, they will inquire any of the parties or agents about this matter. And if not a satisfactory answer is being given, they'll paralyze the sale, as it is. In Spain, the notary, not joking, have a sort of a divine-like aura. They are the cornerstone of legal guarantee and security. I mean, I've seen notaries at the very signing day looking at the eyes of the buyers, warning if they're really sure about buying a house that, for instance, had legal encumbrances. In this case, the buyers were fully aware and agreed on this upon a considerably lowering of the price. I remember a day even where a selling party, there was an elderly lady, actually started crying at the signing date, and the notary was a young guy, asked her if she was okay, and then to find out that her son actually was forcing her to sell. So he stopped right there, the signing. No penalty for any party. After the signing has taken place successfully, it's time to transfer the ownership of the water, electricity, gas, internet, whatsoever the bills. So the notary bill is always paid by the buying party, which averages between 900 to 2,000 euros. And to be paid by the buyer too is the property transfer tax, ITP, Impuesto de Transmisiones Patrimoniales, is how you call it, which is a 10% of the value of the property. Yes, it's a big chunk. Normally you have 1 month to cover this tax. So, to wrap it up, those are the 4 crucial steps to buy a property in Spain. There is no more, no less. If the house doesn't have any legal and structural encumbrances and you are happy with the price you are paying, then that's it. It's been a pleasure sharing this with you today. Thank you very much for listening.
Searth Property Ambassadors, sharing expert experience with future expats.
Please check our Spotify, YouTube profile and website for new podcasts, content, new listed properties and much more. Take care.